2026 is a huge year for gaming. So many new titles are being revealed with next-level graphics, massive world, and gameplay that looks better than ever. Here are 20 game reveals that shocked everyone in 2026. 1348 Ex Voto immediately stood out online because it doesn't look like a typical fantasy game at all. Instead, it leans into a gritty, grounded medieval setting in 14th century Italy, with political chaos, ruined towns, and brutal close-range combat. Created by the indie-Italian studio Sedleo, this title focuses on a knight named Aida, whose journey across medieval villages and countryside leads her toward a deeply personal goal: to recover someone important taken from her during a chaotic era. Combat emphasizes tactical choice, letting players switch between one- and two-handed stances to adapt to enemies and situations, with animations brought to life using performance capture for added realism. That combination of focused action, historical influence, and a personal narrative is what makes Ex Voto a game worth keeping an eye on heading into 2026.
So, you're the young knight who's brought chaos to this camp.
I seek word of a young postulant. She was kidnapped from my town by your men. You murder. You kidnap. I take no pleasure in bloodshed, yet your actions demand it.
When the pestilence came, he turned his back on us all. Do you have any idea how hard it is to feed a family, little lord?
I swore an oath of justice.
Do you believe I enjoy doing the things I've done?
Trust me. They call me names I can't forget. Even when I close my eyes, their words follow me into the dark. I thought if I hid, if I kept silent, they would disappear. But the silence only feeds them. It gives them new faces, new shapes, shadows that know exactly where to find me. Every corner of this place feels familiar, yet twisted. My childhood rooms, my memories, all poisoned by the voices I tried to bury. And now they're back, waiting at the edge of my hearing. If this were only a dream, I could wake.
BrokenLore Unfollow takes psychological horror in a different direction by focusing on social media, trauma, and identity. Instead of leaning on traditional monsters, it uses symbolic creatures and shifting spaces that reflect the pressure and anxiety tied to online life. You play as Anne, a character pulled into a nightmare shaped by bullying, online pressure, and isolation. The world around her constantly changes, with memories, digital elements, and distorted environments blending together. Progress isn't just about moving forward. It's about facing these moments and understanding what's driving them. Gameplay shifts between exploration, tense encounters with unsettling creatures, and puzzle-like sections that feel more psychological than physical. A lot of the spaces are designed to mirror inner conflict rather than act like standard horror levels. A Whisper of Fall blends kung fu-style combat with a historical setting inspired by late Imperial China, and early gameplay already shows why people started paying attention. The swordplay looks precise and deliberate, mixing clean action with moments of stealth and story-driven pacing that feel cinematic without going over the top. The world is full of autumn-colored landscapes and narrow alleyways. Some encounters break into open fights, while others reward patience and quiet movement. Combat focuses on timing and flow, using light and heavy attacks and counters to keep fights rhythmic rather than complicated. One of the more interesting ideas is how stealth works. Instead of hiding in fixed corridors, you can blend into crowds, pause to meditate, or use distractions to slip past enemies or set up an ambush. It keeps things strategic without killing the momentum.
Had we met under a different moon, things might have ended
The Blood of Dawnwalker was one of those reveals that instantly exploded online because people weren't expecting something this dark and ambitious from a brand new studio. The game is being made by Rebel Wolves, a team formed by former Witcher developers, which already got a lot of fans paying attention before we even saw gameplay. Once the trailer dropped, the mood, world design, and combat instantly made it feel like a big next-gen fantasy RPG. Instead of a classic hero story, the game focuses on a cursed warrior slowly turning into something inhuman. Gameplay mixes sword combat with supernatural powers, letting you fight like a skilled fighter one moment, then use dark abilities the next. That mix of grounded medieval combat and monster-like skills is what really stood out. The Blood of Dawnwalker is shaping up to be one of those games that's genuinely worth waiting for. GeniGods Nezha instantly caught massive attention online because of how big and cinematic it looked. The mix of fast action and Unreal Engine 5 visuals made it feel like a next-gen adventure right away. The game is being developed by GeniGods Lab, a newer studio made up of experienced developers aiming to bring Chinese mythology into a high-budget action RPG. You play as Nezha, a legendary figure reborn in a broken world where gods have fallen out of balance. Ancient powers are fighting for control, and humanity is stuck in the middle. Nezha isn't just trying to survive. He's slowly uncovering the truth behind the collapse of the Divine Order, and deciding what kind of force he'll become in this new age. Gameplay focuses on fast spear combat mixed with supernatural abilities. You can fight on the ground, leap into the air, chain combos, and even take on massive godlike enemies that tower over you.
This ends now.
Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly Remake, quickly got horror fans talking again, bringing back one of the scariest classic games with modern visuals and smoother controls for 2026. A lot of people were surprised to see this one return in such a big way. The core story still follows twin sisters Mio and Mayu Amakura, who unintentionally wander into a long-forgotten village full of vengeful spirits. Their only defense is the camera obscura, a supernatural camera that allows them to capture and weaken ghosts, a mechanic that makes every encounter tense because you literally have to face the spirits to survive. For this remake, the developers didn't just update the graphics and controls. They've added new areas to explore, expanded side stories, and even a brand new ending to deepen the mystery while keeping the unsettling tone that made the original so memorable.
This is... What happened?
The ritual will begin soon.
Everyone's dead. Mia, no. Stay back. Run away.
Phantom Blade Zero looks like a fast and stylish action RPG inspired by classic martial arts mixed with dark fantasy elements. From the first gameplay shown, the movement feels quick and very focused on close-range sword combat. Gameplay focuses on fast combos, precise dodging, and weapon switching during fights. Instead of button mashing, timing really matters, making battles feel more like a choreographed duel than a simple hack and slash. A lot of people are already impressed by how polished the combat looks. In Phantom Blade Zero, you play as Sol, an elite assassin who has been framed for killing the patriarch of his own order and given only 66 days to live. With time running against him, he heads into the mysterious Phantom world, trying to unravel conspiracies and make sense of a collapsing supernatural order that surrounds him.
One last toast, and we're all done.
Judas is a highly anticipated narrative shooter from Ghost Story Games, the studio led by BioShock creator Ken Levine. Fans of story-driven shooters instantly took notice when this project re-emerged with new devlogs and details after years of silence. The game is set aboard the generational starship Mayflower, where humanity's last survivors head toward a distant world. You play as the mysterious Judas, a character whose past actions have set off chaos on board, forcing you to make tough decisions about trust, alliances, and survival. What's really drawing attention is how the game's narrative design aims to go beyond traditional storytelling. The team spent years in research and development to make NPCs respond not just to major decisions, but to the sequence of your actions. That means your moral choices, combat style, and how you interact with others can change how the world reacts.
Dying. And my only way out of here is with one of them.
Nioh 3 is shaping up to be a major title for early 2026, with its deep combat systems and historical fantasy twist. The game is developed by Team Ninja, and it's set to launch for PlayStation 5 and PC on February 6, 2026. One of the biggest gameplay highlights is the ability to switch between samurai and ninja playstyles on the fly. Samurai combat leans into disciplined stances and key management, while ninja style focuses on speed, evasion, aerial attacks, and tools like clones that distract enemies so you can strike. Nioh 3 introduces a new protagonist caught between rival clans and ancient yokai uprisings. This time, the setting moves through regions inspired by feudal Japan and neighboring lands, mixing historical conflicts with supernatural chaos as more powerful yokai appear and shift the balance of power.
What makes a shogun? Here is my answer.
Foolish of you to have entered the depths of hell.
Life is Strange Reunion brings the series back to its emotional roots by reuniting Max and Chloe in a brand new story. The story centers around a tragic fire at a university campus that changes everything. Max uses her time rewind ability once again to go back and try to prevent what happened, while Chloe helps uncover the truth behind it. As they dig deeper, old memories resurface and new secrets begin to appear. Gameplay sticks to what fans love most, making choices in conversations, solving light puzzles, and seeing how decisions affect relationships in future scenes. Switching between Max's time powers and Chloe's bold personality gives situations different outcomes depending on how you play. That mix of emotional storytelling, familiar characters, and meaningful choices is why Life is Strange Reunion became a reveal a lot of fans instantly started talking about.
I only have 3 days to save everyone.
Help!
Moses! All that destruction, and there was nothing I could do.
You bought us time. Time that we'll make the most of.
With so many lives at stake, I need all the help I can get. Sophie?
In the flesh. If you saw this campus burn down, then it means it was supposed to happen. Who are you to stop it?
I know there are consequences to using your powers, but
Yakuza Kiwami 3 and Dark Ties Remake quickly caught attention because it isn't just a simple remaster, but a full rebuild of Yakuza 3 paired with a brand new storyline called Dark Ties. Fans were surprised to see both experiences bundled together as part of a much bigger project. The main campaign follows Kazuma Kiryu during a calmer chapter of his life that slowly gets pulled back into chaos, while Dark Ties shifts the focus to another character from the underworld, showing a rougher side of the city and introducing its own conflicts and challenges. Gameplay feels smoother and more polished, with faster combat, new fighting styles, more side activities, and cities that feel more alive. The added arena-style battles in Dark Ties push the combat system even further, with tougher enemies and high-energy fights.
what was that?
Stay back, Chairman! They're targeting you! Back up the car! Fuck!
I've been alone my whole life.
ここはクアットラティム。聖者の世界ではあるけれど、私たちにとっては死の世界ってことになるみたい。
手がかり見つかるといいね。おい、どこへ行くんだよ。
Kingdom Hearts 4 is the next big entry in the long-running series from Square Enix, and it grabbed attention online because fans have been waiting years for new Kingdom Hearts action. Instead of jumping straight back into familiar Disney worlds, this game takes place in a place called Quadratum, a city inspired by Tokyo, complete with realistic visuals and sprawling urban environments. In Kingdom Hearts 4, Sora is trapped in Quadratum, while his friends Donald and Goofy work to find and help him. New mechanics include parkour-style movement, keyblade transformations, and a scrap and build system that changes how some actions work in combat and exploration. The team is using Unreal Engine 5 to push the visuals further than ever, aiming to give both the realistic world of Quadratum and the more traditional Kingdom Hearts fantasy worlds a fresh, modern look. Swords of Legends is shaping up to be an exciting new action RPG that grabbed attention when it was revealed during Gamescom Opening Night Live 2025, especially among fans of cinematic fantasy titles. In this action RPG, you take on the role of an underworld enforcer, a figure who blends between the realms of the living and the dead to help spirits find closure and guide them onward. Along the way, you'll use elemental skills, divine weapons, and supernatural techniques to face mythic adversaries, with some fights letting you capture and summon souls to aid in battle, a mechanic that adds strategic depth beyond basic swordplay. The world is inspired by classic Chinese folklore and legendary creatures, with atmospheres that shift from serene lotus ponds and otherworldly battlegrounds. That mix of visual storytelling and combat variety has helped Swords of Legends stand out among action RPG games.
What? The soulless husk?
The living cast their dead to flame, and sacrifice ignites the war banners!
Here we go again.
Sea of Remnants is an ocean adventure RPG that's been gathering hype because it blends exploration, strategy, and choice in a vast open world full of pirate life and strange mysteries. Combat mixes turn-based battles on islands with real-time naval fights, giving players a chance to plan their moves strategically and also feel the thrill of commanding a ship in dangerous waters. You can recruit over 300 unique companions, customize your fleet, and build crews that boost your chances in both exploration and combat. You take on the role of a sailor who has lost your memories and sets off across shifting seas with a mysterious companion. The world itself, from uncharted islands to the lively pirate city of Orbtopia, feels alive and unpredictable, with dynamic weather and sea conditions shaping every journey. Styx Blades of Greed grabbed attention at its reveal by bringing back the cunning goblin thief Styx, this time with a fresh take on stealth action that leans harder on gadgets, traps, and clever tricks than most games in the genre. The setting focuses on dark fantasy cityscapes filled with corrupt nobles, heavily guarded vaults, and dangerous underworld factions. Missions are built for multiple approaches. You can slip through unnoticed, steal valuables without fighting, or turn things into a messy escape if everything goes wrong. Gameplay highlights include upgraded stealth tools like noisemakers, throwable distractions, and improved visibility systems that make sneaking feel more deliberate and responsive. That constant risk versus reward choice, grabbing valuable loot while risking an alarm, is what keeps players thinking ahead instead of just reacting.
Search everywhere!
Those dirty Inquisition are like cockroaches. Always in the wrong place. So, it looks like I get to do a little pest control.
Kill that green bastard!
You guys need to slow down. Keep them coming! I got him! Just remember, kids, it's not about doing it. It's about getting away with it. never felt anything like this before.
Romeo is a Dead Man is a wild action game packed with fast combat and over-the-top visuals that instantly show the studio's unique style. Everything feels exaggerated in a fun way, from enemy designs to the colorful environments that constantly shift. The game is developed by Grasshopper Manufacture and built using Unreal Engine 5. The team is clearly leaning into creativity rather than realism, making every scene feel unpredictable. You play as Romeo Stargazer, a man stuck between life and death after a strange event breaks reality apart. Instead of staying in one world, the game jumps between different dimensions and styles, each with its own enemies and atmosphere. Gameplay mixes close-range sword attacks with guns and flashy combo moves. Some abilities power up in crazy ways, turning fights into fast, stylish chaos rather than slow tactical battles.
They were set to elope. It wasn't Juliet who showed up at Romeo's house, but a white devil. The white devil attacks Romeo, tearing him to pieces and leaving him to die. Using the hyper-technology of genius scientist slash Romeo's grandfather, Professor Benjamin, Romeo's life is saved. That's right, he becomes a dead man who lives. Romeo was reborn as Dead Man. Well, let's just start the game from here.
The Godslayer is an open-world action RPG set in a massive fantasy city run by godlike rulers. Instead of locking you into one playstyle, the game lets elemental powers decide how fights and exploration play out. Combat is less about pure speed and more about how smart you use each element. You can combine abilities, chain effects together, or play things safe and set up the fight before going in. Some encounters reward patience. Others let you go all in and stay aggressive. The world itself revolves around humans learning to survive under divine control. Elements like fire, water, earth, metal, and wood don't just exist for combat. They affect the environment too. You can reshape terrain, open new paths, or gain an advantage before a fight even starts, which keeps the gameplay feeling flexible instead of scripted. Crisol Theater of Idols stands out right away, thanks to one bold idea. Your blood isn't just health, it's also ammo. Every shot and ability literally costs life, so combat always feels like a calculated risk instead of a free action. That single mechanic flips the usual horror shooter loop on its head. You're constantly weighing whether an enemy is worth fighting, because attacking brings you one step closer to death unless you manage your resources carefully. The world mixes crumbling ruins, maze-like streets, and massive statues that feel unsettling even when they're standing still. It pulls heavily from Spanish folklore, twisted into something darker and more surreal. Enemies react in strange, disturbing ways, and exploration never feels completely safe when blood is always on the line.
Every secret you've hidden, every drop of blood you've spilled. A price for the god you so love. But you know what they say, mi sol. Donde hay amor, hay dolor.
Dragon Quest VII Reimagined caught a lot of attention because it takes one of the longest and most content-packed stories in the series and finally brings it up to modern standards. Combat feels smoother, enemies are visible in the world, and a lot of small quality-of-life changes fix things fans have complained about for years. The remake sticks with classic turn-based combat, but without random encounters. Enemies now appear on the map, so exploration flows better and fights feel like a natural part of the journey instead of constant interruptions. Progression has been expanded too, especially with the job system. Party members can switch between different roles, from straightforward warriors and mages to more specialized hybrid classes, giving you real flexibility in how you build your team instead of just grinding levels the same way every time.
This is the stuff! You and me battling side by side again. Flame Splitter!
Resident Evil Requiem is the 9th mainline entry in Capcom's iconic horror franchise, set to launch in early 2026 and bring players back into the terrifying world of Raccoon City. This time, the story follows Grace Ashcroft, an FBI analyst drawn into a bizarre outbreak filled with eerie creatures and haunting environments, including an abandoned hospital filled with dark secrets. What makes the game feel fresh is the way it mixes traditional survival horror, tight resources, tense atmosphere, and puzzles. Fans also got a big surprise when Leon S. Kennedy was officially confirmed as a second lead character alongside Grace, blending familiar franchise faces with new perspectives. Both characters offer different gameplay styles. Grace's sections lean into slow, psychological tension, while Leon's moments bring more direct combat intensity.
Hello?
It hasn't been easy. But after much effort, here we finally are.
Who are you?
I know now that you're the one that I've been searching for. The special one. The chosen one. Miss Ashcroft.
Grace! Grace!
You there, Leon?
Yeah.
Hey, over here. FBI, what are you doing here?
Would you like to see what's hidden under the hood?
Don't do anything stupid.
Me? Never.